Good morning. Welcome to TERRA at Home. I'm here with this guy, Josh Tiessen. So nice to see you again. It's been a while.
Yeah, it has been.
This is so exciting to have you on TERRA at Home. And we're officially, what, 18 now?
Yeah, just
oh my goodness.
18.
How did that happen? Okay, so we go way back because I've kind of following you over the years.
Yeah.
And you are a local Hamilton boy, but you've kind of been all over the world because you started off living in Russia, didn't you?
Yeah, I was born there to Canadian parents who were professors, and from a young age I was always really creative and artistic. Had a Russian nanny who did lots of arts and crafts with me.
And that kind of came in handy because here we are standing in your studio, and every time I kind of connect with you, you've grown and your whole world has expanded. So obviously kind of started from there, and then you really got into painting. So how did it really come to be for you?
Yeah, so when we went back to Canada, when I was 10 years old, I had an artist take me under her wing, and she mentored me, booked me for an exhibition when I was 11, and since then I've been working at my art full-time, selling my work at over 40 exhibitions, so it's been really exciting.
And you've got that line picture where you painted when you were 10 years old, right? And that, I mean, that's something that people look at and they, in their lifetime would never be able to create, never mind at 10. And so from there, obviously, we're seeing a lot of growth. And it's amazing how as you start to age, and obviously being only 18, but you sort of look and you start to sort of stream down what you're really about and who you are, and starting to find yourself along the way in this creative process. So what are you as a painter? Who are you?
Great question. So I started with a lot of nature and wildlife, and I've been mentored under master artists. Robert Bateman was one of them, who was an inspiration of mine. Since then, I've diversified. I've even tried other styles like abstract and cubism. I've stuck to the high realism, old buildings, architecture, sort of the interaction between the natural world and man-made structures, and the metaphors that occur through that process.
So much fun for you. And when you're traveling around, do you find you're that person that's sort of really observing maybe some things that people don't notice sometimes, I'm sure? Yeah,
definitely. I take my camera wherever I go and just find unique things. I love complexity, beauty, and it's all around us.
And I love realism when it comes to art, and some of your stuff is incredibly real. And so we're going to talk about and show some of your paintings. So where should we start?
Sure. We can start with some of my recent paintings over here, which were inspired from the Maritimes. And so we went out on a trip, took tons of photos. Each painting will take between 200 to 300 hours to get that high realism detail, but I really love the nautical themes out there.
Now, do you find that is there ever a time where you can set up and paint there at the time, or are you generally coming back and painting in your studio and then off of the photo?
Definitely what I have done is sketching like in the field. Occasionally I tend to take photos. I'll usually use 20 to 30 photos for each painting, so I get different angles, perspectives, take those back to my studio and create a composition. So I'll do lots of compositional sketches just to get the idea, and sometimes it's generally an idea that comes first and then just photos as the detail reference.
I think that's amazing that you can do that, and how great is that now that we of course have the technology of being able to take photos and then being able to come to the comforts of your studio where you probably feel your best, maybe being here and kind of approaching it at your time of day when you're painting. When do you paint?
You know, pretty much all hours of the day. I fit in my studies through distance ed, but other than that, generally painting around 6 to 8 hours a day, and near the end of the painting up to 10 hours. And so I love listening to books and lectures while I'm painting.
That's smart.
So yeah, I definitely really enjoy my time. You have to enjoy it.
Yeah, you gotta love your job, and that's the funny part. We were joking about the fact that you're doing this distance education because you need to commit your time to your craft. We're joking that you kind of did this backwards, and a lot of people spend all their time in school and eventually hopefully try to find some kind of career. You sort of had your career as a kid and you're still growing that while continuing your education.
Yeah, it's definitely kind of ironic, but for some reason it's just come about for me at a young age, and I've now sold over 70 originals of my work. So just, you know, collectors purchasing my work internationally has also given me a big boost. But having visitors come to my studio during the week, I also need that flexibility to work from home. So it's definitely exciting and working out for me well.
I'm sure social media really helps you as well, because you're active in that. We were talking about how you do this time-lapse photography thing where you're taking this and actually the picture behind you. Let's talk a little bit about the Brat Music Festival, and you've done a children's festival as well, where you're using photography, and it really helps people see what you do. And I guess it's probably hard for people to believe that you actually do what you do. So now they get to see it in real proof.
Yeah, exactly. I love doing time-lapse videos. I have my camera set up taking photos of me. This one here was for the Brock Music Festival with the symphony playing as well, the orchestra. So incredible experience to do the Scheherazade piece because obviously I did the painting on stage, just the finishing touches, but I had the time-lapse videos to speed up the process.
And that's so neat for people. So again, I mean, we're looking at art combined, so the art of music and what you do, and people would probably just think that's just the coolest thing, and it would probably feel really neat when you have this epic sound around you while you're painting.
Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah. Great experience for sure, seeing music and art come together, and Boris Sprott has been so supportive of me collecting my work. I
love that, and again, because you're a local boy too, and you did a children's one as well, right?
Yeah, I did that at Hamilton Place for the educational concerts with the Peter and the Wolf performance.
That's so neat. It's just so fun. So we were talking as well before the segment how sometimes when you have your exhibitions and your displays, people are so shocked by some of your paintings. They look so real that they almost want to touch them, and you know, like the doorway and some of them where you look like you're actually you're painting a door, but it's because the paint looks like it's really peeling.
Yeah, I love that the shadows and the play with creating texture. I guess the technical term trompe l'oeil, which is, you know, trick of the eye, and definitely I hope that's what I'm going for with my paintings, because the weathering effects on old architecture is fascinating.
I love it. It's great. Okay, so you actually are in the middle of a show right now in Toronto at Exhibition Place?
Yes, that's right. I'm at the Artist Project Toronto booth. I have new original works there, and so it's 20th to 23rd. There's more information on my website at joshtiessen.com, so definitely really excited about that. And then an exhibition that opens on March 1st, a virtual exhibition called The Visceral. So lots coming up that I'm really excited about.
So you're just so busy, and you're saying, you know, again, every time, you know, we connected, that you really have grown and you're becoming international. So you're getting a lot of different interests, and you've won a lot of awards as well.
That's right.
Tell me, you can brag a little.
It's hard for me, but I've been really fortunate to receive over 30 awards recently. The top 20 under the age of 20 in Canada, and the Diamond Jubilee Medal. And so that was in part for starting the Arts for Change Foundation, which supports over 30 charities worldwide. So I think that's something really important for me. I've been blessed with this gift, and I just really want to share it with others and raise funds for conservation and all of that.
And it ties in again with your interests, right? So perfectly with what you do. So what's next for you beyond the shows that are coming up? Where do you see yourself in the next couple of years?
You know, it's definitely hard to say. I just go one day at a time. I feel, you know, I've been blessed that God's given me this talent, and I'm so happy to inspire kids as well. I go into schools and speak, and community groups, seniors groups, and just really try to inspire others through my story of kind of beating the odds of a young artist being successful in the art world, which can be sometimes rare.
We wish you the best of luck, and we'll keep connecting with you along the way. So good for you. You're only 18. You got a lot of years ahead, and can't wait to see what happens here.
Great.
Thanks, Josh.
Leslie.
That's it for TERRA Home. We'll be back with more.
Where color lives. You've sat under them and built forts in them. You've swung from them and fell out of them. You've even fallen in love under them. Trees have always held a special place in our hearts and memories. A natural beauty, trees will grow with you and your family and bring color and nature into your world. For your assurance of quality, look for trees and shrubs with the Medallion plant tag. Medallion plants, locally grown, the pride of Niagara.
Good morning, welcome back to TERRA at Home, and we are in a lovely smelling place right now, Christy's Gourmet Gifts, and I'm here with Bernie, and you're the man in the back operation here.
I make all the goodies back here. This is my home. This is where I live for many months out of the year.
This is your lovely working kitchen, and reason why, one of the main reasons why, well, because we love this and we love every element of this, but you're actually one of the features at our TERRA Home Market every Saturday at our Milton location.
Yeah, so I just want you guys to come and see where I create all my stuff.
I love that because people get to go and taste little samples at the TERRA Home Market, which I just did recently, and my son even and my mom were completely hooked.
It can be quite addictive.
Yes. So let's talk about Christy's if we go back a little bit and how it sort of all came to be.
Well, we started the business about 11 years ago. Christy is a baker. Her mother is. Her grandmother is. She had a couple.
Really exists.
Oh yes, she does. She is around. She comes up with the recipes and it puts me to work. Sends me back in the shop.
Nicely.
And but I've always had a passion for chocolate, and so I've been trained as a chocolatier. So the combination of the baker and the chocolatier, we got together and we developed a few recipes from her grandmother's book, and we've expanded on it.
That's neat. I love it. And that's the thing, it brings up some kind of cool, old, traditional, old-fashioned candy that some people haven't seen in a while, but it's perfected.
We've brought back sponge toffee.
Sponge toffee, we were saying that goes back for, I would say, probably centuries, right? I mean, it seems like it's been around for a very long time.
It's a staple, you know, as a kid growing up, it's a staple at all the hockey rinks.
Yes.
It's what dads did to get their daughters to sit still and watch a hockey game.
Exactly. Me, seriously, I did that exact thing.
Yes.
I mean, we were talking about my life right now.
Everyone remembers that from the arena. So we've taken that and we've taken it one step further, and I've gourmeted it up a bit. And you know, I dip it in some really nice chocolate. We use really nice Belgian chocolate I import directly from Belgium.
Wow.
So it has a higher cocoa butter content.
Yes, Belgian chocolate's really good.
Oh, it is really good. It is. So it's a little harder to work with. Sure. But the end result is fantastic.
I like the idea of taking sponge toffee and dipping in chocolate. It's always nice, but I like the way you guys do it as well. I mean, looking at your packaging is very, very cool. I've always really liked your packaging, but you can see how it's only partially dipped in some areas, so you get a little taste of what's...
well, because people want to see what the product is.
It's true.
If you fully enrobe it in chocolate, then no one really knows what it is.
Right, you don't want to...
So do you bite into it and get a cherry? No. You don't know,
You know what you're getting. I like this. This is good. You guys are smart. Okay, so that's kind of cool. And again, lots of different elements at play here when it comes to some of your candy. And one thing that's big at the market is your brittle.
The beer brittle,
now, this is beer brittle.
It's our new product. Well, I've been working on it for about 2 years trying to perfect it. Now, always tweaking it. You know, the first batches weren't that good, but now I've sort of, I call it like it's like a hybrid brittle. I've got, it's sort of a cross between a butter toffee and a typical brittle.
Oh.
So I have lots of butter in it, lots of beer in it, and instead of peanuts, I use almonds.
Okay. I like that idea. Now that's what I think is awesome about it.
Yes.
So, and it has a real dark color to it.
It does.
And are you using a dark beer then?
Yeah, I've got a Nickelbrook Stout beer. Okay. It's really dark, and I'm actually going to pour a little bit into the pot that's right behind us.
So you're using like a big copper drum that you prepare this
It's a copper candy kettle. See, that's how dark the beer is. It's quite dark. It's 9% alcohol content in it, very strong, but it's great because it brings out the flavor in the brittle. If I use like a Pilsner or something like that, it's too neutral.
Yeah. I was wondering about that.
You don't really taste it. So I'm going to just give this a pour into the kettle because I've got a batch on the go right now. See, I do put quite a bit in it. This is 64 ounces or 2 liters of beer.
Wow.
That goes into this one
and I guess obviously the alcohol ends up being burned off.
It does, yeah.
And
so you don't have to worry
about
with
the flavor of the.
Yeah, so there's no worry about eating and driving. You're good.
Oh, that's good because this is the kind of stuff that you want to do. Well, you want to be nibbling away while you're driving.
That's right.
So the process itself, once you get through, it is a long, tedious process as a chocolatier, as a candy maker. Is it fairly straightforward now that you've perfected it after 2 years?
Well, the brittle, it'll take you an hour to finish off now, and then the chocolate. The chocolate is the finicky one. I want to just do a quick little demonstration on tempering the chocolate.
Because we were saying that a lot of people use chocolate at home and make chocolate at home, and they wonder why. When we talk about the term tempering, what exactly are you trying to achieve?
It's the best way I can describe it is think of oil and vinegar salad dressing. Okay, you've got to shake it and then pour it. Otherwise, you get the separation of the oils. Same thing with chocolate. Much slower process, but you get the cocoa butter in the chocolate rising to the top. And that, if you've ever seen white chocolate, and you think, oh, this chocolate's old, it's not good. Well, it's fine. It's just that it got warm, the cocoa butter rose to the top of the surface, now it looks white. And it doesn't look good.
And people, as you say, people think, oh, that's
old. Now, if you buy really cheap chocolate, you don't have to worry about it because they take the cocoa butter out and they substitute hydrogenated palm kernel oil, which is not good. And that's why you get that really cheap chocolate.
And it actually does, it's almost chalky. It doesn't even taste like chocolate.
Waxy.
Waxy.
Yes.
Yeah.
but it's easy to work with. But if you want to work with good stuff, you've got to get it to the right temperature.
Right.
Melt it down to 45 degrees Celsius so it's nice and warm.
Okay.
And I like to pour it onto a cold surface. I've got my marble slab here, and I pour about, I'd say about 2/3 on the slab.
Okay.
It sets up quite quickly on the marble slab. So now you want to, you're just getting the cold off of the slab into the chocolate. Right, you do this for a couple minutes, and then you put it back in. So it's almost you'll see it start crystallizing. So you'll see it start to harden a bit. You can almost see it here on the marble.
How do you get that back in there?
Well, with this, I do it very carefully. I just scoop it like so. Right, it does get messy. It is a messy job.
Why don't we leave it to you to make the chocolate? You know what?
But when I do big batches, I do have a machine for it that does it for me.
Yeah.
But I do like to do the hands-on approach when I do small batches. And then I just take the individual sponge toffee and I would dip it in and then let it set up.
Oh my goodness.
So it's very tedious, time-consuming doing the hand dipping.
Yes, I would
process.
say that would be, because you have to do that by hand, right? That's something, and
it is.
And again, you're getting. I think what's great about when we're talking about the background and going back through, Christy's, grandmother's cookbook and that type of thing, and the whole old-fashioned side of things. With your branding and your packaging, you're still achieving that look, and people like that. People want to feel that there aren't any artificial ingredients.
Yes.
It's just still really raw and just ingredients, basic ingredients.
Yeah,
right?
and we try to keep the see-through package as well so people can see the actual product, what they're getting. That's always important. That way it doesn't look like a grocery store shelf item.
Sure.
Right, it looks like it's handcrafted, something small, unique.
Exactly. Okay, so let's talk about some of the other products that you have, because that crunch bar stuff that you make.
The butter crunch toffee.
That's killer.
That is the original recipe that we started this business on.
That's what I was going to say, because that was your legs, because it becomes in white chocolate, milk chocolate, and dark chocolate.
That's right. Yes, and it's that's Christy's grandmother's recipe. 98 years old now, Christmas Day.
Oh wow!
And she still tells us we do it wrong because we don't put little fork lines in it. But she still has her opinions. Yeah.
What do you do?
But so we've taken that recipe, we've elaborated a little bit on it, but it's the same concept. We have it's like an English toffee type of recipe, but we have a wafer baked into it, lightens it up, gives it a little bit of a crisp. So it's not hard, it's not too sticky, and it's very unique because it's not like anything else out there.
You're getting chocolate and caramel, and you say that wafer. It's all those elements that people really, I think, love about candy.
Yes.
Right?
It's all pure goodness.
Yeah, so that's a good thing. So you have a location here on Mainway. Again, we're in the back kitchen area of it, but you can come in and visit and look around all your things.
It's much nicer out front, and Christy's mother actually runs the front
there
of the shop,
so you can come here. Or, of course, our TERRA Market that's on until April, and you can go every Saturday from 10 to 3 and meet you and taste a little something and buy some wonderful treats.
And maybe Christy will make an appearance as well.
That would be nice. I'd like to meet Christy, the infamous Christy. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
That's awesome. Nice to be back. It smells so good. That's it for TERRA at Home. We'll be back with more.
TERRA, where color lives.
Good morning, welcome back to TERRA at Home, and we are in our TERRA kitchen today with Chef Iain preparing a scallop dish. You said more like an appetizer size?
Appetizer size.
Okay.
A wonderful amuse-bouche. We're going to start off the process. We are going to soften some cauliflower. What I've done is I've just reduced some cream and started softening the cauliflower until it's nice and tender soft. Okay. And then ultimately, what I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer it into a nice high container because we are dealing. Yes, we are dealing with hot liquids.
Okay, so
we
you said it's just cream and cauliflower right now.
It's just cream and cauliflower.
Okay.
To which I'm going to add just a little bit of cumin. It's a nice flavor combination. And I'm also going to add some pecorino cheese. So
that sounds good just on its own. Let's feed it with a spoon.
Yeah, there you go.
Not good for you,
I'm going to hand off to you and the trusty immersion blender, because we always have such good times when
yes, we do.
you look after the immersion blender.
I'm actually stressing out about this right now.
What I said to you before this segment, though, is once you get it going, if you put the towel around, you'll avoid any sort of splashback, which is always important, especially when dealing with hot liquids. Hey, we're off to a good start. If you keep it going, what I'm going to do is...
How's that?
Perfect.
Oh, look at that. Is that good texture? Consistency?
Great texture and consistency.
Okay.
I want it nice and smooth.
Okay.
What I'm going to then start with is, it's a nice little bacon, it's a little almonds, a little maple syrup, and some breadcrumb. So first and foremost, I'm going to start to render my bacon out. Start to cook it out. So it starts to let out all the fats.
I noticed you like to use the peppered bacon, so it already has some good flavor.
Already some flavor, right? Yeah. I'm also a big fan of the applewood smoke or the maple bacon as well.
Okay.
Once all the fats are starting to render out, I'm going to add some of my almonds. I've just taken some slivered almonds, just cut them up. I want to keep them all roughly around the same size. It's going to complement our dish, so I want to make sure it's nice and a refined look.
Okay.
So from there, like I said, I'm just toasting everything up.
I love the smell of cooked bacon. Just somehow, it's so simple, but it smells so good.
It is. I'm going to add about 3 tablespoons of breadcrumb.
Okay.
And we just got to be really, really careful with the heat at this point, because I really don't want to burn my breadcrumb. So just incorporate it, and you're making a really nice bacon almond dust almost that's going to complement our scallops and our wonderful cheese and cauliflower puree. I'm also going to add sugary goodness, a little maple syrup. Always tastes good. I can almost just turn off the pan at this point and just let it sit on the heat itself.
So far these stages have been really straightforward. Making the puree and making the crumble, so that's good. Okay.
What I want to bring our attention to now is the scallops themselves. I made sure before I came to the TERRA studios this morning, I picked up at my local supermarket. You want to keep it fresh. First and foremost, I want to pat dry. If you want to get a really good caramelization on your scallops, you make sure they're nice and dry. The only other thing that I want to talk about before we start searing them is there's a little muscle. It's an adductor muscle. It's sometimes called the foot, and that's what attaches to the shell itself. We always want to just make sure that we just pull it off and discard or set aside.
See, I never knew about that until you were talking about it.
It's just a little tough little piece
Look for it.
that we're going to just pull off. There you go. Really? Nice liberal seasoning of some salt. I don't want to, because I want to keep a nice look to it, I'm going to avoid any sort of pepper. Just a nice salt itself. And I'm going to switch things over here.
And then a very hot pan, right?
A very hot pan. That's a very good point. Bring a little bit of olive oil. And it's approximately about 2 or 3 minutes aside. And again, it's something that we want to keep our eyes on. And we'll keep that going. So we've got the puree just through. Like I said before, it's very straightforward. It's cream, some cauliflower. I've added just a little bit of cumin and some pecorino cheese. So you have this wonderful
cheese
sort of
nice. Very good. It smells very good.
Fantastic.
I love seafood because it does cook so quickly. And again, the searing on a scallop is key. I find sometimes you get them and they're not seared enough, and the texture's not quite.
Exactly. It's about approximately 2-3 minutes aside, depending on the size of the scallop itself.
Because some of them are huge.
Oh, I know. What I'm sort of reminding myself right now is I've got to be patient. You see that I'm almost sort of like wanting to go to the pan and take a peek underneath. I really just sort of need to leave it alone.
Okay, don't break that seal. Just let it sit in there, right?
Okay. Exactly. So we're almost quite to the time, we can start possibly building the plate, or do we want to?
Sure, we could do a little bit of that while these guys are cooking away. Again, because we want to create that, we want to get that look and make sure that they're. It's hard when you're shooting television because you want to rush it so much and you want them to be done.
Exactly. So we've got a lovely little puree. There we go.
And again, you were saying, you know, obviously this is an appetizer or amuse-bouche, but you could really, you know, you could make this a larger meal if you wanted to accompany it with, say, with a side salad or something like that, and throw in a few more scallops or something.
A bistro style, absolutely. Yep. You could do a little side salad with a little vinaigrette, most definitely. See, I'm glad I've waited because I've got a really nice sort of
looks good.
sear to it. It's great.
That looks awesome. Very, very nice. And again, so, you know, the one thing with this, again, you know, people love their scallops, love their seafood, but, you know, there are alternatives that you can do with something like this. Shrimp are always really yummy to do. Now, would you put shrimp with the same accompaniment with the bacon and the almonds? Would that work as well as a scallop? Because there's something about...
Perhaps maybe the almonds and... I'm not so much sure of the bacon.
Right? Yeah, I know.
Ultimately, I'd like to keep things a little light, a little citrusy maybe with bacon. Sorry, with the shrimp.
Yep.
But most definitely, you can play around.
Play with that a little bit, and the sauces and some of the concept of the ideas. I like the whole basic idea. So what we'll do is we're going to take a quick break. We'll come back, we'll put this all together and show you how pretty it will look, and we'll let these scallops continue to sear.
Fantastic.
TERRA, where color lives.
Heritage perennials. Look for us in the blue pots.
Welcome back to TERRA at Home, and we're doing our lovely scallop appetizer here with Chef Iain, and they're lovely and seared, looking good, smelling great.
Yeah, we had a lot on the go. We did a wonderful bacon, maple, and almond crust that's just keeping warm right now. We've achieved our sear on our scallops.
Yes.
We talked about a little bit before about prepping the scallops as well. We took off the little muscle or the little foot, which tends to be a little tough.
Yep.
And then a nice high heat that we talked about, a little olive oil, just to achieve the perfect sear. And again, we also wanted to make sure that the scallops were nice and dry before they hit the heat. So I put them in a little bed of our cauliflower puree. And
see, now you know when you're at a restaurant and you get that puree and you know it's cauliflower puree, you think, oh, well, that seems really healthy. It's just cauliflower, but you realize that there's still a whole lot of cream in there.
A fair amount of cream.
This is why these cooking shows, they get me, because now I know all the secrets, and then I learn, and then...
I know.
It's still so good, I'm not complaining, really.
Wonderful.
Look at it. Looks good.
It's
I
great.
like it. That's easy. I love it. It's fantastic. Of course, you can find all of our wonderful recipes on terragreenhouses.com. And again, what's great about it is you can kind of go through all of our recipes, and you can kind of pick and choose and create a whole meal plan for... I think this time of year when you're having people over, a lot of people have dinner parties and things like that. So you can do a little bit of this, some kind of cool salad. You always make neat things and put it all together and create a fantastic meal.
That's what it's all about.
It is. It is. This time of year, it's all about sitting inside and eating all this yummy food, because then once spring hits, no more of the cauliflower puree.
Backing into running. Exactly.
Just scallops and salad. That's what it is. Thank you, Chef Iain. Good stuff. Good cooking. All right, that's it for now. Have yourself a really great weekend. We'll be back with more TERRA at Home next Saturday at 11.